I've worked with enough restaurants to know this isn't random. When ads lose money, it's almost never because of the platform. It's usually because something underneath the ads is broken. And most owners don't realize what that something is. If we haven't met, I'm Radel, founder of Serve Marketing. We work exclusively with hospitality businesses, restaurants, bars, and cafes. And over the past few years, we've helped more than 100 restaurants improve their bookings, lower their cost per customer, and build proper acquisition systems instead of relying on walk-ins or word of mouth. And after reviewing that many accounts, one thing kind of becomes very clear. When ads feel inconsistent, it's rarely random. There's always a structural reason. And so in this video, I'm going to walk you through what's usually happening underneath the ads when they lose money, because once you understand the structure, you'll evaluate your marketing completely differently. And whether you work with us or not, this will change how you look at every dollar you spend on ads. So we'll give a scenario here. We've got restaurant A versus restaurant B. I'm gonna break this down properly. They have the same budget, but they have a completely different structure. The first part would be the offer. We're starting at the top. You've got restaurant A that boosted a post. They've got nice photos, maybe a caption that says, "Come try our new menu." There's not really a clear reason to act. There's no urgency. There's no condition attached. Now you've got restaurant B and they ran a specific offer, something structured. For example, free shed platter when you book 3 mains, weekday only. There's a reason to click. There's a reason to book now because there's a condition attached. Already the intent is quite different. Now we've got the second part, which is the tracking and visibility. If you go one step down, you've got restaurant A that doesn't really know what's happening. You know, they can see the likes, maybe reach, maybe comments, but they don't know what their click-through rate is, what's their cost per booking, or where people dropped off. So when results feel inconsistent, they don't really know where the problem is. Whereas you have restaurant B, they know how many people click, how many book, what they paid per confirmed booking, and what their break-even number is. So if something underperforms, they know exactly where to look. That alone changes the decision making. Then you've got part 3, the chain. Now, when you zoom out, this is where most people miss it. Ads are not just post equals booking. There's a chain. So you've got your creative, you've got the offer, you've got the landing page, then the booking page or the booking intent, then the customer decision. If one part of that is weak, the whole thing underperforms. And restaurant A can't see the chain clearly. Restaurant B can. And that's the difference. Now, the part 4 is after the booking. This is where it gets even more important because restaurant A treats it like a transaction. You know, someone books, they show up, that's it. Whereas restaurant B, they capture the data, the email, the SMS, pixel audiences. So now that the first visit isn't the end, it's the start of repeat visits. Same money spent, completely different structure. So I'm gonna show you exactly what restaurant B actually really do differently, and I'm gonna slow this down properly. Because when I say restaurant B has structure, I don't mean that they're better at ads. I mean they've built a few key things correctly, and each one affects profitability. Like I mentioned before at the start, the offer. So with restaurant B, their offer is engineered. This is where everything starts. Most restaurants think an offer means promotion, but an engineered offer changes the behavior. It gives someone a reason to act now instead of later. There's a clear benefit. There's condition attached, so it doesn't destroy the margin. And there's a reason why it makes sense this week. And without that, you're relying on people already wanting to book. With it, you're creating intent, and intent is what drives clicks. And if the clicks increases, everything downstream becomes cheaper. That's why this part matters more than people think. Number 2 is that they can actually see what's happening. So this is where most restaurants fall short. So they're gonna spend the money, they see some bookings, but they can't really explain the path to the journey. So you've got restaurant B. They know exactly how many people saw the ad, how many clicked, how many reached the booking page, and how many confirmed. So if something underperforms, they don't panic, they diagnose. And if lots of people click but don't book, it's a landing page issue. If no one clicks, it's the offer or creative or the targeting. That clarity changes everything because now you're just adjusting specific parts. You're not actually guessing. Number 3 is that they know their number. This sounds very simple, but it changes how you feel about ads. Before spending money, restaurant B defines what can we afford to pay to get a booking, not what they hope to pay, what makes sense mathematically. So if the average table brings in $120 and margins allow for a $25 acquisition cost, that's the benchmark. Now, when a booking costs $18, that's good. If it costs $32, then maybe a little bit of adjusting. But without that number, every week feels emotional. And with it, it becomes mechanical. Marketing should feel mechanical. Number 4 is that restaurant B, treat booking as the beginning. This is where long-term profit lives. Restaurant A treats the booking as the finish line. Restaurant B treats it as the starting point. So every new customer is a data point. Future visit, a potential event booking, a birthday table, a group dinner, but only if you capture their information. If you don't collect their email, phone, or build retargeting audiences, you have to pay to reach them again. When you capture the data, the second and third visit becomes cheaper than the first. That changes the economics entirely. Number 5 is that restaurant B did not lose warm people. See, not everyone books immediately. That's just normal human behavior. Some people will check the menu, some look at reviews, some get distracted, and restaurant A lets them disappear. Restaurant B doesn't. See, they set up, retargeting campaigns, so they retarget visitors who reached the booking page but didn't confirm. They show the offer again, maybe with urgency, maybe with a reminder. Now, instead of paying for a new cold traffic again, they're converting warm people, and that reduces the cost per booking over time. And that's how the campaigns actually stabilize in the long run. That's the real difference. The marketing chain. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. What you just saw isn't just 5 random tactics, it's a sequence. Ads are not just post booking, like I mentioned, there is a chain. So you've got the creative, offer, landing page, booking page, and then the decision. Every part affects the next. If the creative doesn't stop attention, no one sees the offer. If the offer isn't strong, no one clicks. And if the landing page is confusing, no one books. If the booking page has that friction, they then drop off. So when someone says ads didn't work, the real question is which link actually broke? Because something always breaks first. If you can't see that chain clearly, you really can't fix it properly. So this is why tracking matters. If, let's say, 1,000 people see your ad and 30 click, but only 2 book, the issue isn't the platform. It's somewhere between the click and the confirmation. If 1,000 people saw your ad and only 3 click, then the issue is creative or the offer. But without mapping the chain, everything will feel vague. And vague marketing always feel really risky. The amplifier. So now here's where it becomes simple. See, ads don't create structure. They just amplify whatever the structure is already there. If the structure is loose, ads push more people into that weak system. If the structure is tight, ads push more people into a strong system. That's it. It's super simple. That's why the same budget can feel like a waste in one restaurant and predictable in another. It's not magic, it's just amplification. Now, to make this practical, I'm going to show you a real campaign example. Now, this campaign was generating confirmed bookings at around $12 per result. Not messages, not clicks, confirmed bookings. Now, if the average table is worth $100 or more, you can see how that becomes sustainable. That didn't happen because of luck. It happened because the structure underneath was built properly. There's a clear offer, there's clear tracking, there's defined cost targeting, retargeting in place, and that's what it looks like when the chain is tight. It's not really about chasing that $12 number, it's about understanding the structure so that numbers like that are possible to achieve. Because once you understand the structure, you kind of stop guessing and you stop reacting emotionally. You start evaluating your ads properly. And that's exactly why we put together a full breakdown. So we've created the Restaurant Owner's Guide to Profitable Paid Ads. It's not a fluffy PDF. It breaks down the acquisition chain, how to calculate your allowable cost per booking, how to engineer offers without killing margin, how to separate ROAS from operating costs properly, how to turn first-time customers into repeat revenue, and how to build a system instead of just running campaigns. It's the same framework we use internally when we audit and scale our clients' ad accounts. And it's free. So if you own a restaurant and you're spending money on ads or even thinking about it, you should have this, because whether you work with us or not, again, like I said, this will change how you look at your numbers. The link is below, click download, and you'll immediately see where the gaps are. And if you'd rather not build it yourself and you want the faster route, you can reach out to us directly at servemarketing.com.au. I'll see you guys in the next video.